Hello and welcome to my painting video. In this video I will be painting a Corvus Cabal Cabalist. He is part of a warband for the game Warcry. I was surprised how much detail was in these miniatures. Because of this I was looking for an efficient way to paint them. There's also a lot of black areas to paint and I wanted to differentiate the materials being used like feathers and cloth. Let's begin. I've become a fan of contrast paints. It really speeds up my painting process. Because of this, I usually prime my models with Wraithbone. The Cabalist is no exception. I recently bought the contrast paint Guilliman Flesh. There's a lot of bare skin on the Cabalist, so this seemed like a great opportunity to test this out. I'll be giving this model some minimal highlights to speed up the process. The skin highlight will be Ushabti Bone. If you want to even out some parts of the skin, use a bit of Kislev Flesh for that. I use a little bit of Carroburg Crimson to wash over areas that look like wounds or which have these hooks impaled in them. The skin is done, but will receive one more detail. This will be painted on later in the video. I want to make sure that the model will not turn into a void of black once they're done. This is why I'll be base coating the feathers with Leviadon Blue. To darken the bluish tint, I'll wash the feathers with Nuln Oil. All these models have a lot of feathers. To speed things up, I will dry brush them. The first dry brush is Celestra Grey. The second dry brush is Fenrisian Grey. These two colors help keeping the feathers a bluish black. You might want to paint some further details on the feathers, but personally I will keep it like this for fear of making things too messy and too busy. The cloth, excluding the pants, the arm straps and hair, will be base coated with black Templar contrast paint. You can keep it like this, but I will give everything a small highlight of Thunderhawk Blue. This is a simple but effective way to paint these parts. You can also include all the leather straps, but I think the model will look better if these are painted in a different color. I've seen a lot of examples where the pants are painted in a different shade of blue. I will be doing the same. For the base coat I chose Stegadon Skill Green, which looks blue to me, but there you go. To bring some shading to these pants, I'll wash them with Nuln Oil. This will also even out the base color a bit more. To highlight the pants I will use Thunderhawk Blue. You can paint all the areas and creases where light hits. The second highlight is Hoeth Blue. Make thin highlights with this color. You don't want the pants to look too shiny. This color works very nicely with the different shades of blue and black we're using on these models. Again, I'll be using a contrast paint I bought recently. This one is Gore-Grunta Fur. I like the orange hue and it breaks up the blue and black parts of the model. This contrast paint looks great straight out of the pot, but I will highlight the leather a little bit with Jokaero Orange. All the stitches and ropes of the model will be given a coat of Rakarth Flesh. The model is coming along nicely. You can choose a darker color for the leather if that suits you. The bird skull will be giving a base coat of Skeleton Horde. Be sure to clean up the skull with Wraithbone first. The beak will be given a coat of Black Templar. You can either do the entire beak or just the tip. That's up to you. I want the skull to look like it's been bleached. That is why large areas will be layered with Ushabti Bone. The final highlight is White Scar. This will help the bleach bone effect very nicely. The bird skull masks look great. For some extra detail you could highlight the beak with a light grey color. The wooden handles of the weapons will be base coated with Wyldwood. Now I will base coat the blades and other metallic details with Leadbelcher. Some small details on the metal parts could be layered with some Balthasar Gold. On some other models they have greaves and shoulder pads, which will benefit nicely from this. Wash all the metal parts with Agrax Earthshade. Alternatively, you can use Nuln Oil. I will use Stormhost Silver to highlight. Make sure to cover all the edges of the blades to make them look sharp. The model is now nearly done. There is one final detail we need to do before we can finish the model. I really like the detail I've seen a lot, where the Cabalists have some blood on their collarbone and necks. I like to think it's part of a ritual they've done, or they are terrible in shaving. Use a thinned down blood for the blood god to get this effect. Also, put some blood on the blades while you're at it. The model is done. All that's left is the base. I've shown how to paint a base like this in 2 other videos already. I want all my Warcry models to have the same base, which fits my scenery. To start out, I will use Armageddon Dunes to give it some texture. The base will be coated with Leviadon Blue contrast paint. To bring back some details, I will give a dry brush of Thunderhawk Blue. Lastly, the rim will be coated in Dark Reaper. I'm really happy how this Cabalist turned out, and I can't wait to paint the rest of the warband. From a distance on the playing field you can see the different shades of black and blue, and for me that's always important. How does a figure look when you're looking at it from a distance with painted scenery? Give tribute to the great bird of chaos, and thanks for watching.